I'm Kathleen Hall, and this is Live an Intentional Life.
Hi, and I'm Michelle Schlafman.
Thanks for joining us today. So this is part of our beginning series on Live an Intentional Life. And so how we'd like to begin it is I've developed this little algorithm that's pretty simple. It's called ACE, Ace Your Life. And what I found out that people that live an intentional life, I go to this think tank with a bunch of incredible people and very blessed. And I don't care if it's a Nobel Prize winner or if it's somebody that discovered one of the cures for malignant melanoma, which is a guy that does, and different types of the people that did the genome. Or the amazing thing to them is, to me, is they've lived an intentional life, but they have three components universally, and that's why A is for awareness. C is for once you become aware of your situation, then you make a choice. And then the third part is the energy that you get from that experience. Mm-hmm. And then what it does is, then you feel stronger or more confident about, oh yeah, this is exactly, I feel better. Then again, you become more aware. And so it becomes a beautiful cycle in life. And I noticed that whether they were in a physics lab discovering cold fusion, and they became more aware of what the problem was, they made a choice. See, then they changed the algorithm or whatever they were doing, that experiment, and then it was a different experience and a different energy. So it's a cycle of life, and it's the cycle of intention. So in saying that, we're going to start with this particular part of the series. Today we're going to talk about awareness. Next one we'll talk about choice, and then we'll talk about the energy from experience. So in awareness, I think the best way to teach people, well, number one though, is you need to ask yourself, am I really the victim of my life or the hero of my life? Because I know you being a psychotherapist, a lot of people that come to you really feel victimized. I mean,
very much
yeah,
so.
Exactly. And you and I both know sometimes it's a short victimization, they just broke up or lost their job. Sure. But sometimes it can be a lifetime of victim.
It can be a lifetime of a victim in relationships and jobs and family. And when they get stuck in that victim cycle, it's very challenging to find a way out, which is why this is so important.
Yeah. So don't you think the awareness, so you're not going in there beating them up in therapy going, blah, blah, blah. It's more like, I think part of a great therapist's job is teaching them aware that the patterns or habits that we've been taught in childhood or in relationships. So in this, I come from finance. I was a money manager and all that stuff on Wall Street in my first life. And so when I got into this field, I thought, a cool way to learn awareness is to think of it like balancing your checkbook. So remember, you have a credit, which is a plus, and a debit is a minus. So what I suggest people do is don't go on to 10 or 20 items. Stick with 3 to 5, short list, and put in the plus side. What gives you life? What gives you energy? What gives you love? For someone like me, it's my bird feeder, and I go out there and it changes my whole world when I watch those baby cardinals that the mothers birthed in the spring to come up because they're about this big now, and they've learned to eat, and I've watched them grow up, and my goldfinches are coming back. So simple things. What about you? Name one thing
for me, it's doing energy work, my spiritual practice in the morning. I just love it. Yeah. It just fills me. It fills me
it's
so
your go-to,
much.
though, don't you? And you have confidence in it, don't you?
Absolutely.
See, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what, again, with the awareness, making choices, and the experience, you come back to it because your experience, right, and your energy level is telling her to do that.
And it feels good.
And it feels good. Mm-hmm. And I know she probably agrees that isn't it shocking, the people that come into our offices, and when you say, okay, what are the 3 things you love that you're doing every day for yourself? And doesn't it look like a deer in headlights? Like, I don't have time. I'm driving carpool. I'm feeding people. Or I'm trying to get ahead. I work 20 hours a day in this new job. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, isn't it? It's just amazing how we've circumvented our lives. Mm-hmm. So awareness is huge, and I want you to do the credit and debit. In that, do 3 to 5 things that are positive, and 3 to 5 things that are really ticking you off or stealing your energy or whatever. I call them energy vampires. So start the credit and debit system. And
then to take off from that, some of the things to include on that, or to even think about what to be aware of, it can be relationships, family members, friends. Look at your circle, see what's really going on in there. It can also be, meetings, like she said, carpool and meals, family time. Check that out a little bit too. You can also focus on things such as emotions, and that's a really keen one to focus on because our emotions create our life. So to really be aware of how you're feeling and what's going on with that is really, really something to kind of, really look at in a close perspective. And then also money. You want to take a peek at your finances and see, are you spending it on things that you really want in your
Because you
life?
also do couples. Money is important, isn't
Money
it?
is
So make sure,
huge.
yeah, thank you. It's a huge thing in a
Mhm.
relationship. And even if you're not within a relationship, with yourself,
Within
isn't it?
yourself.
Your relationship with money.
Yes, yes, very much so. And then last of all, time. You know, take a look at the time that you have in your life. Are you creating it the way you want to, and with what's important? Negative, positive, how are you spending your time? So to just look at that as well.
Thanks, those were beautiful. That's great ideas. I love this. And so here we are. We're going to sign off with our first, which was the awareness piece. And thank you for joining us. And we look forward for you for the next part, which will be choice. And I'm Kathleen Hall.
And I'm Michelle Schlafman.
And this is Live an Intentional Life.